this is JC. Welcome to Urban Knife Guide, where we explore the urban lifestyle and jungle survival. Today I'm going to try to explain knife blade steels to non-steel nerds and people who have no intention to be metallurgy experts. It is for the average person who has an interest in EDC and quality gear. I'm not a steel expert, but I am experienced in adult learning and training, so I'm going to distill the basic information you need to know and what matters most when it comes to blade steel. Most importantly, I'll share a method to determine if a particular steel is for you. If you're an average person and not a steel nerd or steel snob, this video might just be for you. First, if you watch this channel regularly but have not subscribed, please do so to help the channel out. And if you'd like to support the channel even more, do check out my shop links in the pinned comment or description below. You can even join as a channel member. Thanks a lot. The topic of this video was suggested by subscriber Melvin1727, so shout out and thanks to Melvin1727. At the basic level, this is how you should think about blade steels. Blade steels are like different types of wood. Each type has its own unique properties that make it suitable for specific tasks. For example, different woods are used to build a house, make furniture, or even used for different types of firewood. Likewise, different steels are better suited for different tasks. So the question would then be, which steels should be used for different tasks? Now, rather than try to familiarize and memorize the ever-growing list of steel grades, it is easier to remember the 4 properties to consider. Hardness. Harder steels hold an edge longer but can be more brittle. The most common method for measuring the hardness of a blade steel is the Rockwell hardness test, and that's what you see HRC often in product descriptions. Toughness. Tougher steels are less likely to chip or break, but they may not hold an edge as long. Corrosion resistance. Stainless steels are more resistant to rust and corrosion, and what determines the corrosion resistance is the amount of chromium inside the steel. Ease of sharpening. Some steels are easier to sharpen than others, but generally, the harder the steel, the harder it is to sharpen. Some people say that no steel is harder to sharpen than others, especially if you use diamond plates. They say it just takes more time and patience. That is honestly just semantics to me. If something takes longer and requires more effort, it is harder. So back to the 4 properties. If you just remember these 4 properties, hardness, toughness, corrosion resistance, and ease of sharpening, you'll be able to assess if a steel type is for you. Now we can look at a simplified view of 3 broad types of blade steels. I will not go into the composition of steels as that can get quite complicated and is a much more complex discussion. For purposes of this video and the average person, the most common types of steel you'll see described in knife descriptions are carbon steels or high carbon steels, stainless steels, and tool steels. High carbon steel is strong, durable, and holds an edge reasonably well, but it is more susceptible to rust. Stainless steel is steel with at least 11 to 13% of chromium, depending on who you ask. However, the general consensus is that steel with at least 11 to 13% chromium content is considered stainless. And of course, the good thing about stainless steel, it is rust resistant or corrosion resistant, and there's a wide range of stainless steel grades to choose from. Tool steel, such as D2, is extremely hard and durable, but it can be very difficult to sharpen. It is important to note that within these 3 broad types of steels, there are numerous steel grades made by different manufacturers, each with different properties, strengths, and weaknesses. So when you hear names like 12C, 27N, 44C, or Magna Cut, these are all steel grades under stainless steel. 5160, 1075, 1095, 01, and 02 would be steel grades under carbon steel. However, 01 and 02 would also be considered a tool steel, but something like D2 would be a tool steel but not a carbon steel, as it is an alloy steel. I'm sure this sounds very confusing, but honestly, at a very basic level, it is not so critical to know the different categorizations in the context of choosing a knife for the average person. The types of steels are just a way to offer a broad categorization of common types of steels you'll find in knives, and will give you a rough idea of what to expect from the respective steels. Everyone will have different requirements for a blade steel based on the activities you engage in and personal preferences. So just because one person prioritizes certain properties over another does not mean that is right for you. The best way to choose a knife blade steel is to consider how you'll be using the knife. If you need a knife for everyday tasks like slicing vegetables or opening packages, a stainless steel knife with good edge retention might be a good choice. If you need a knife for heavy-duty tasks like chopping or butchering meat, a high-carbon steel or tool steel knife that is tougher might be a better option. Let me share my personal preferences, and you can use that as examples of how different steels are chosen for different activities and tasks. Let's first talk about urban EDC. For my urban EDC needs, I generally need a knife for lighter tasks. So I'm not cutting through tree branches or roots or steel cables. I'm probably cutting through a lot of packaging, tape, cardboard, paper, rope, various kind of cordage, and probably food packaging. So things like that. So I prefer a stainless steel that has good edge retention, and I'm not too concerned with the ease of sharpening because I can always bring it home and I'll have the tools to be able to sharpen it even if it is a harder steel to sharpen. Some of the preferred steels in my typical budget range for urban EDC include 154cm, Nitro V and D2. Here are some examples. This is the Kaiser Mojave, it's 154cm, Civivi Altus, that's Nitro V, and then with the Ontario Knife Company's RAT2 in D2. If I'm willing to spend a bit more, then I'll go with a premium steel like S45VN, 20CV or M390. And here are some examples of those steels. This is the Spyderco Para 3. It sports a S45VN blade steel. The Benchmade Foray in CPM 20CV. And this is the Cansept Model 6 with M390 blade steel. While there are many super steels now that have far better edge retention, they're also much more expensive, and I'm not prepared to pay so much for a super steel for a folding knife. I'd rather pay more for the design or aesthetic appearance of the knife, and if a super steel comes with it, that is a bonus. Having said that, I'm also fine with budget steels in these knives over here. Some common budget steels are 8CR13MOV, OS8 or 440C. Now I know from experience that edge retention is not the strength of these steels. However, I'm not judging them on the strength of this property, and I know I get what I pay for. So let's have a look at some of these blade steels. This is a Squire Stockman. It's made in Seiki, Japan, and that's 440 stainless steel. These two over here, these are both by CRKT. This is the Sketch and this is the Rip Snot 2. Now this features 8CR14 MOV and this features 8CR13 MOV. The difference is just in the chromium content. So CR13, CR14, that's 13% chromium and 14% chromium. So obviously the 14% chromium will be more corrosion resistant than the 13% chromium. And then we have a cold steel Airlight. This is the Tanto style blade, and this is in OS10A, so an even better version of OS8. For outdoor use, I have different criteria due to the activities I engage in the jungle. For a parang or machete, my main priorities are toughness and ease of sharpening in the field. As such, I like 5160 and 1095 high carbon steel. So over here we have the Top Chikare in 1095. This is the Parang Turung from FF Blades, that's 5160, and the Village Chandong from My Parang, that's 5160 as well. For my secondary fixed blade or belt knife, I want a stainless steel and a balance of good edge retention and toughness. My fixed blade is used for finer and lighter tasks. I use my parang for heavier tasks, and I personally also use my fixed blade less than my parang. My preferred steels for fixed blades are 14C28N, 154cm, and even a basic 1095 high carbon steel. So this is the Moronif Garbert. It's 14C28N. It's a great steel. It's very tough, holds its edge, and relatively easy to sharpen, and is budget friendly. 14C28N is probably, to me, the best steel based on that criteria. 154cm, and this is the one in the Topsfield Craft by Brothers of Bushcraft, also known as the Bob knife. And this is also by Tops. It's the Tops Brakimo in 1095. Let's have a look at other steels that I like in an outdoor knife. This is the Lion Steel M4. It's M390 blade steel, my current belt knife, very happy with it. This is also by Lion Steel. It's the M3. This is Nylock steel. Now originally I had quite a bit of trouble sharpening this, but then when I switched to diamond plates, put in a bit more time and effort, I could sharpen it. So I actually do like this steel now. So I was on the fence at one time, didn't like it, and now I'm back to liking it. Now I also like 3V. Now this is not a stainless steel, it's an alloy steel, but it's extremely tough and has great edge retention. This is the Cold Steel Recon Scout. And while it's harder to sharpen, I just find it overall a great steel, and I like this knife as well, so that's one of my preferences. While this discussion is on blade steels, it's important to note that heat treatment is more important than blade steel. Heat treatment is the crucial process that transforms a piece of steel into a functional knife blade. It involves heating and cooling the steel in specific ways to alter its microstructure, resulting in changes to its hardness, toughness, and other properties. There are two key heat treatment processes. Hardening. This involves heating the steel to a specific temperature, then rapidly cooling it, that results in a hard but brittle structure. Tempering means reheating the hardened steel to a lower temperature to reduce brittleness and increase toughness. So why is heat treatment considered more important than blade steel? A high quality steel with poor heat treatment can be brittle and prone to chipping, while lower quality steel with excellent heat treatment can exhibit impressive performance. Think of it this way, steel is like a raw material like a tree. Heat treatment is the craftsmanship, like shaping the tree into a sturdy table. A good craftsman can create a functional table from even a less desirable wood, while a poor craftsman might ruin a perfectly good piece of wood. There's really no way to know how good the heat treatment process of a knife is unless you're in the workshop while the knife is made. So it's always safer to stick to reputable and proven brands or knife makers based on reviews. For example, Buck is well known for its Paul Boss heat treatment. This is 420HC, so considered not an expensive steel, but because they do such a good job with the heat treat, it functions really well. It is also important to note that knife makers may be more experienced heat treating different types and grades of steel. So just because they know how to heat treat 1095 well, it does not automatically mean they'll do an equally good job heat treating Magna Cut. Now comes the most important part of the video, how to determine which blade steel is suitable for your needs. First, you must prioritize which properties of a blade steel are most important to you. Hardness, toughness, corrosion resistance, or ease of sharpening. Then it comes down to shortlisting knives that you're interested in and comparing the steels. Thankfully, you now can use technology to help assess and compare different steels. You can use an AI tool like Gemini and ChatGPT to help you. Let's assume you're looking at 3 different knives, each one made from a different steel. We have the Tops Brakimo in 1095, this is the original Russon Tracker in D2, and the Tops Fieldcraft Bob knife in 154cm. So open up Gemini on your internet browser or the app. If you're on desktop, you should see a screen like this. Scroll down to the prompt box where it says Ask Gemini, type in something like this. Compare the following blade steels in a table in terms of edge retention, toughness, corrosion resistance, ease of sharpening, and I've also included price. Then put in all the blade steels you want to compare. Now it doesn't have to be limited to 3, it can be any number. So for purposes of this discussion, I'm putting D2, 1095 and 154cm. You hit submit and just wait for the results. Because I asked for a table, it's created a table for me. It's even given notes, there are visual comparisons, they've given links as well, summary. So this is very useful, and then you can look at the table and just compare the properties against the steels that you asked for, and then think about your own activities, your preferences and needs, and see which steel works best for you. Now this is awesome, isn't it? But I should mention at this point, AI is not 100% accurate. It's still learning. It depends on data sets and AI computing power, but it will get better in future. But for now, this is what I would suggest. After you get a set of results on Gemini, head over to ChatGPT. Now this is a different AI tool, but it serves the same function. So key in the same prompt, hit submit, and see what it comes up with. Now, because it works in its own algorithm and also may extract from different data sets, it may give different information. In this case, ChatGPT is giving much more information, which can be very useful and very educational. They're even giving you bushcraft and wild camping applications. So read this, check the table, and then cross-reference it with the Gemini answers. If you find that the answers are similar, then you can safely assume the information is probably accurate. However, if you find there's conflicting answers or you're still unsure, then do this. Just head over to Google and just do a regular Google search and just put in this case, I put in compare 1095 D2 and 154 cm blade steels. Now I will ignore this AI overview if it comes up because that's just generated from Gemini because Google owns Gemini. What I'm really looking at is other things like forum posts, blog posts, or Reddit posts. And in this case, you can see in Blade forums, they're actually comparing the 3 steels that I asked for, which is a great coincidence. And I'm going to go in to read that to get more information. If not, I'll scroll down and I'll just see what different people are talking about these steels. Then I'll get all the information I need to make an informed decision. I hope this video has helped explain different blade steels and how to choose a steel for your knife. As mentioned, this is a simplistic and broad overview of a complex subject, but I believe the information is adequate for the average person to choose a knife for urban or outdoor EDC. One last point I'd like to make is that all the information you see online and in product descriptions are theoretical, for lack of a better word. It is very possible that on paper, a particular steel may seem perfect, but when you actually use it in practical applications, it may not feel and work as well for you. And another steel that may seem inferior on paper better suits you. This is because there are also aspects of a knife that affects the personal performance of a knife. This can include blade shape, grind, thickness behind the edge, size, weight, handle design, and handle materials. So often you have to actually handle the knife and try to make a determination if a blade steel and knife is for you. If you think any of the information in this video is inaccurate, please let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.